rather than focus on economic encounters, what I will be focusing on is something Adam brought up and sort of didn't deal with, which is rabbinic responses or rabbinic perceptions to the realities of women's economic encounters with Christians and to the kinds of economic activity that we heard introduced so nicely by Adam, so I don't have to introduce it. The setting here, though, is not early modern Poland, but we're dealing with a rabbinic dialogue from early modern Holy Roman Empire, and I just want to sort of put this out there and say that while certainly I work on the empire, this is really just a sentence in my book, and I've taken it in a different direction, so I'm in a little bit of new territory here. And the other thing I'd like to sort of say at the outset is that picking up on what we were just discussing, Elisheva's question to Adam, what's early modern about this? I'm not sure that there is something specifically early modern about this, and it may be very much a continuation of things that we've seen in the medieval period, and that's something that I wanted to raise, so I'll just flag that right now for the sake of continuity. What we have here are two responsa from the Chavot Yair Bakarak. I'd like to just give a brief description of who he was and then jump into the texts and the issues that we're dealing with. Yair Bakarak was born in 1638 and he died in 1702. And basically served as a rabbinic figure in various locations within the empire. In 1666, he was appointed the rabbi and the head of the Beit Din, the rabbinical court in Koblenz. In 1670, he was briefly appointed as the rabbi of Worms after his father died. His father was previously the rabbi of Worms. And then he returned to Worms after someone else had taken over. There were some issues about succession of the rabbinate in 1699, which is the same year that he published his famous work of his book of responsa, the Chavot Yair, from which I'm dealing with two related responsa. What we have here is his responsa, two sets of responsa. The first responsa is basically his recording of an answer that he received from another rabbi to a question that he had sent to him. The rabbi in this case is Meir Stern, who died in 1679. He was the rabbi of Fulda at the time, and later he was the rabbi of the German Jewish community in Amsterdam. We don't have, as you see if you've read through the responsa, we don't have his original question to Meir Stern, but this can be very easily reconstructed, which is what I am going to do in my talk, sort of show the dialogue between them. He sent Meir Stern a question. We have Meir Stern's response to him in his first responsum, and then the second responsum is basically Bakarak's response to that responsum. Sounds sort of funny, but that's what it is. So what I'd like to do is first talk about what is the issue that they're dealing with, what are the aims of these two responsa, what's at stake here, and go through reconstructing their dialogue, just their two different positions, just for the sake of clarity, because there are a lot of different halachic arguments that you can see here and sort of get lost in them. I'd like to just map them out in a clear sort of chart-like way, and then sort of raise some questions and issues that I thought might be interesting for discussion. So what is this dialogue about? This dialogue is about a reality that's existing on the ground, and that reality is that there are Jewish women engaged in economic encounters with Christians, probably money lending, also I think some trading based on other things that I've seen, and these women are trading with non-Jews, and the issue that we have is one of yichud, meaning seclusion with non-Jews. And here we're talking about not just a woman going into seclusion with a non-Jewish man, with a Christian man, but because of the halachic parameters of yichud in terms of non-Jewish men, even when the non-Jew's wife would be present with him, you still have the halachic issue of being secluded with this non-Jew. So even if we have a case where a woman is trading with a Christian and his wife, that would still halachically be problematic because she was alone with him. The assumption of the Talmud being that his wife was not a sufficient guardian, the Christian's wife was not a sufficient guardian, and that therefore we could still have some kinds of adulterous behavior going on.